Well, we've crossed the borders of South Africa and we are here in Botswana. This is the big one, the marathon event, which is run over 2 days, 1,000 kilometers in the desert. Welcome to the Toyota 1000 Desert Race.
The pressure's not off yet, as Manfred and I think overall we're tying points, and we're up here at the Toyota Desert 1000, and being here in Johannesburg, I think we're going to have a little bit of rock in some places for sure, because the diamond mine's quite close by, and then we're going to get into the thick sand. And the bush is pretty small. Just from driving around outside, we've seen no big trees like there was down in Gabs, but it's going to be an interesting race.
It's round 4 of the Donaldson Cross Country Championship, and as Anthony said, they're tied at the top with Schroeder and Bardenhorst, but there's plenty on offer in Botswana. Double points on the only marathon event.
Well, the world seems to be in Brazil for the World Cup, but these two Brazilians decided to come to Africa.
We want to take a good position in the race, and it's going to be a challenge. It's our first race here, never raced before on this kind of in Africa, so I think it's going to be interesting.
Interesting, dangerous, exciting, so many descriptions. The race, of course, also forms part of the Dakar Challenge. The participant who finishes first, irrespective of class, gets a free entry to the Dakar Rally.
The aim of the weekend actually is the Dakar Challenge. I think that's the ultimate in the off-road series, and to be able to participate and be a part of such a phenomenal event is actually quite fantastic in itself.
And look who's back, former buck, Stefan de Blanche. Do you find the navigating thing easy now?
It's easier than the first time. Obviously, the more you do something, the better you get at it. I'm still not good at all, but it's starting to make sense finally. I'm an ex-rugby player, so we're not that clever, but as I said earlier, but the book and the distances are starting to make a little bit of sense to me now.
Okay, so you guys could be competitive here.
We'll try. That's in our nature to be competitive to a certain degree, but we just want to finish the race. For me, that's very important.
Now to the specials. While Quinton and Cully Silvalt have been making headlines, it's the other Silvalts, Wichard and Herman, that have caught the attention. They've switched roles and Wichard is now behind the wheel.
Something new for both of us. There'll be some steep learning curve at the start, I'm guessing. We're in the fortunate position to be starting the prologue a bit further back, so the road will be clear, which is a big advantage actually. So hoping we can capitalize on that, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
Wichard and Herman not quite in contention overall, but Quinton and Cully are. The Elegant Fuel pair second on 50 points, 9 behind another father and son team of Gerard and Hardus du Plessis.
There's no question that the Toyota 1000 Desert Race is the most popular event on the calendar. And while the race has moved to Johannesburg, spectators still came out in their thousands to witness all the non-stop motoring action.
First up, qualifying, and would you believe it, the Brazilian team of Ronaldo Varela and Gustavo Gugleman setting up the fastest time in their Toyota Hilux. Incredible effort.
36 seconds behind them, Christian Deploy and Henk Janssen van Vieren in their RFS Motorsport Ford Ranger.
The Pretoria pair followed by championship co-leaders Schroeder and Bardenhorst from Atlas Copco Ford Racing.
The fans absolutely loving proceedings. The first Castrol Toyota Hilux a mere 29 seconds in arrears. This one belonging to Dakar competitors Leroy Palter and Rob Howie.
On board with the pair now, and they're catching up on Jacques and Lizelle van Tonder. No, they actually hit them while going past. Doesn't look like too much damage though.
Fifth fastest and only 2 minutes behind the leaders, the Horn brothers Johan and Vanna from Malalan Toyota.
Malcolm Carker and Johan Berger in their first race this year put in an impressive performance, setting the 6th fastest time.
We heard from Gary Berthold earlier. Him and Siegfried Rousseau's main aim is to win the Dakar Challenge. The Atlas Copco Ford Racing pair are 7th.
I spoke too early about Jacques and Lizelle van Tonder. Looks like plenty of damage was done. Meanwhile, defending champions Anthony Taylor and Dennis Murphy scream past. They're in 8th spot, less than 3 minutes behind the leaders.
It's the first time Class G has done battle in the desert, and setting an impressive time of 36 minutes over 60 Ks, Woolridge and Dreyer. So an astounding performance from the Brazilians Varela and Gugleman, first on the grid in their Hilux, followed by Deploy and Janssen van Vieren, while Berthold and Rousseau set the early pace for the coveted Dakar Challenge in their Atlas Copco Ford Ranger.
Over in the specials, Lawrence du Plessis and Hilly Leroux set the pace, first in class and setting the time to beat at 72 minutes.
All eyes on Wichard Sulwald driving for the first time, and a great performance alongside his dad Herman, second quickest for them.
Arthur Barnes and Anthony Usher rounded off the front three, their position echoing their sentiments that it's a great route.
"50 seconds behind them, the championship frontrunners Gerhardus and Hardus du Plessis in their Jimco.
The jet black bat spec 4 of Eduardo and Ricardo Agazzi taking them to 5th in class.
Two men that love the Toyota 1000 Desert Race, Colin Matthews and Rodney Burke from Century Racing, the first Class P on the grid and a whopping 4 minutes behind the leaders in the special vehicle category.
The 2013 championship winners Motorride Racing pair Evan Hutchison and Dani Stassen, who failed to finish their last 2 races, they're 7th quickest in class.
8th fastest in Mpumalanga Victors, Quinton and Cully Sulwald from Elegant Field, not used to being the second pair of Sulwalds in the lineup.
So a great performance from Lawrence du Plessis and Hilly Leroux in their Zarco, 54 seconds ahead of Wichard and Herman Sulwald, while Barnes and Usher are 3rd in class.
Having been to the Dakar Rally, the Toyota 1000 Desert Race on the Donaldson Cross Country Championship is without doubt the closest that comes to the epic adventure in South America. And not only in terms of the race itself. The bivouac is usually a hive of activity, but this time around it's home to most other competitors who opted to camp within the tremendous motoring playground.
Morning has broken on day 2 of the Toyota 1000 Desert Race, and while many expected the start list to be dominated by production vehicles, few expected a pair of Brazilians to be out in front.
Water is coming on, let's get the Brazilians. So, and today it's difficult because we're gonna see it's gonna be the first one. So bushes, no trail, more difficult to me, more navigation. So we don't know how we're gonna find because we started at a theory on the list on the back. So today on the front, so it's gonna be tough. I think very tough.
And they're away. The start of 1,000 kilometers, Varela and Gugleman racing in Castrol Toyota Hilux colors.
Second to get their adventure underway, Christian de Ploy and Henk Janssen van Vieren from RFS Motorsport, the pair looking for their second finish of the year.
30 Ks in, and it's the Brazilians setting the pace.
Not too far behind, the Ford Ranger of de Ploy and Janssen van Vieren.
The pair look to be storming through the terrain. They failed to finish in Mpumalanga, a habit that plagued them throughout 2013. But they've had a great start to this race as they've just overtaken the Brazilians to move into first position.
Coincidentally, Poulter and Howie also managed a DNF last time out, and they're currently 4th in this absolutely exquisite terrain. It really doesn't get much better than this. And they're behind championship co-leaders Schroeder and Badenhorst from Atlas Copco Ford Racing.
Back on board with the Brazilians, who are now second. And it looks as if I've spoken too soon. They have been screened and overtaken by Schroeder and Badenhorst, the front runners changing very quickly.
In 5th place, Johan and Werner Horn enjoying a tremendous 2014 in their Malalan Toyota Hilux.
Koch and Berger are currently in 6th place, but I don't think that will last for much longer, as Taylor and Murphy are quickly gaining in on them.
Lying 8th, Berthold and Rousseau from Atlas Copco Ford Racing, and they're currently leading the Dakar Challenge.
The first special on the route, Lawrence du Plessis and Hilly Leroux. This is Healy's first ever Toyota 1000 Desert Race, and only his second ever national race.
First in Class S, those up to 4 litres with solid rear suspension, Heini Stumpfer and Henry Hijo, very much at home in the desert conditions.
So after 70 kilometers, de Ploy and Janssen van Vieren are out in front, followed by Schroeder and Badenhorst, while the Brazilian pair are finding things a bit tougher this time around. They're third.
Back with our leaders in the RFS Ford Ranger, they had a great run in qualifying despite a navigational error 70 kilometers in. No errors this time round. Well, not yet. Plenty of errors behind them though, confusion reigning all round. And there's a collision between Varela and Gugleman and Poulter and Howie. And with that, the Castrol Toyota pair move into third place.
Make that second, they've managed to go ahead of Schroeder and Badnost as well. It's all happening here in the desert.
On board with the other Castrol Toyota pair, Taylor and Murphy, gaining ground on Berthold and Rousseau. Brilliant driving as they move ahead.
The defending champions led from start to finish here last year, and they're gaining ground on the front runners, going past competitors at a rate of knots to move up to fourth.
Including Johan and Werner Horn, who hold a very slim lead over Kockenberger and Berthold and Rousseau.
The Brazilians' Hilux has seen better days, but good to see the pair up and running after that earlier collision, but they're down to 8th. It looks though that I've spoken too soon, the pair coming to a standstill to assess the earlier damage.
Still firing in front in Class A, Duplessis and Leroux and their Zarco. These two-wheel drive vehicles are most impressive in the tight desert conditions.
While in Class S, no one can touch Strumpfer and Hiku in their Toyota Hilux.
Lying 9th in Class T, the baby blue Atlas Copco Toyota Hilux of Sarel van Biljon and Philip Herselman. Sarel actually made his Donaldson cross-country debut in Botswana last year.
Proving to be a natural behind the wheel, Wichard Silvalt alongside Dad Hammond, their second in Class A.
After dominating for much of last year's race, Colin Matthews retired on the final day, and let's hope the same fate doesn't befall him this time round. He and Burke, though, doing well to get past Gerard and Hardus Duplessis.
They lead Class P for normally aspirated 6-cylinder petrol engines, while the Duplessis are lying third in Class A with no restriction on engine size.
On board with the other Sulvalds, Cully and his son Quinton, who in 2009 won the TDR 1000 on Father's Day. They're lying 5th in class and not finding it too difficult to get past Jannie Visser and Joks Leroux from Rubicon Racing Toyota.
Well, make that 4th in class now as they maneuver their way past Eduardo and Ricardo Agazzi. Excellent driving from the Elegant Fuel team, and what a race this is turning out to be for the fans.
The men in the Batsback 4 have also been overtaken by Visser and Leroux. The Agazzis, of course, competing in the Dakar Challenge too, so they'll be concerned about who overtakes them no matter the class. Now they go back in front.
Speaking of Dakar Challenge entries, Hutchison and Stassen from Motorite Racing, they're 6th in Class A and are about to overtake Strumpfer and Hiku, who have dropped down a number of places.
Hutchison and Stassen are flying, but not too far behind. Desert Race rookies Barnes and Usher, 7th in Class A in their Bat Venom.
Rounding off the top 10 in Class T, Michael Whitehouse and stand-in navigator Matthew Carlson from Regent Racing. Mike saying the race has been fast and good.
Matthews temporarily back in the nav seat, having taken a bit of a break from the Donaldson Cross Country Championship, maybe finding his feet as they got a little lost there, and that's allowed teammates Jürgen and Daniel Schroeder to overtake, moving them to 10th. Well, 8th in Class A, the Cincinnati Plastics Gymco of Brett Parker and VZ Van Sale.
3rd in Class S, Rubicon Racing's Lo de Brain and Rian Quailing, while hot on their heels is the Treasury 1 BMW of Henny de Klerk and Johan Smallberger.
On board with Jason Fenter and Vincent van Alleman from 4x4 Mega World, also competing in the Dakar Challenge, and they look to be on the verge of overtaking Quibus van Tonder and Freddie Krill. And they've done the job, some superb driving.
The crowd showing their appreciation for all the action. Going strong is our celeb team of Marsh and Blanche in the Imperial Automotive Nissan Navara, just outside the top 10. Now Blanche is competing in his third Donaldson cross-country event. He seriously does love the sport, but he's in for a grueling 3 days, as Donaldson cross-country CEO Rob Simpson found out last year.
Second in Class P, KZN pair James Watson and John Thompson in their bat, withstanding the harsh conditions of the Toyota 1000 Desert Race.
So after 90 Ks, Deploy and Janse van Vuuren still lead. Poulter and Howie are second, followed by Schroeder and Badenhorst.
As for the specials, Duplessis and Leroux hold on to first, followed by the Sulvalds, Wichart and Herman, and Matthews and Berg from Century Racing.
It's getting extremely tight at the front. Deploy and Janse van Vuuren have the edge over Poulter and Howie for now, but the Castrol Toyota pair are gaining ground. In fact, they've gained ground. They're in front, and we have a new leader.
Well, the RFS Motorsport team must be hating the sight of Castrol Toyota Hiluxes because they've just been caught up by Taylor and Murphy.
The defending champions putting on the afterburners. And there they go. Phenomenal speed, taking them past the Ranger and in to second place. Undoubtedly, the battle lines have now been drawn.
Well, next in their sights, teammates Poulter and Howie. This race certainly has it all. No wonder it's such a popular event. And Taylor and Murphy have grabbed hold of first spot.
As if Poulter and Howie don't have enough to contend with, they're also having to beware of the wildlife. The pair coming agonizingly close to colliding with that car. Wow, only in Africa.
Well, Toyota currently hold the first 3 spots, with the Horn brothers Johan and Werner having climbed to third.
In fourth place, Atlas Copco Ford Racing's Schroeder and Badenhorst, the men tied at the top of the championship.
Fifth in class and overall, the other Ford of Berthold and Rousseau. They're also leading the Dakar Challenge.
First of the specials and the leading A, it's still Duplessis and Leroux, keeping the rest at bay.
Second in Class A, the Duplessis. They've just gone past Deploy and Janse van Vuuren. They're sidelined.
Van Bouillon and Hasselman have made some good strides, climbing their way up to 6th in Class T.
While the Sulvalds, Quinton and Cully have dropped a spot and are lying in third.
The leaders in Class P, Matthews and Berg from Century Racing. We mentioned how Matthews failed to finish the race last year, and they've unfortunately come to a stop this time around as well. Let's hope it's not for good.
They've made their way up to 4th and are also taking part in the Dakar Challenge, Hutchison and Stassen.
Rounding off the top 5, it's the A5 Wichart and Herman Sulvald from Elegant Fuel.
Barnes and Usher look to have stopped, but they're getting back in the mix. And only to allow a host of vehicles to pass, and that really is some brilliant footage.
Deploy and Janse van Vuuren are back up and running, but they've lost a lot of ground. The Agassi's right behind them.
Also back on the road, Barnes and Usher. 7th place for them, closely followed by Regent Racing's Whitehouse and Carlson, who appear to be losing ground.
In Class S, Strumpfer and Hichu, second behind class leaders Visser and Leroux, making light work of the tough conditions.
Parker and Van Zyl are 8th in Class A, leaving plenty of dust in their wake.
Rounding off the production top 10, Jürgen and Daniel Schroeder in the Regent Racing Nissan Navara.
Competing for the first time in Botswana, the newly introduced Class G or side-by-sides, Gareth Woolridge and Boyd Dreyer currently lead proceedings.
So with the first of 4 loops done, Taylor and Murphy lead the way, followed by Poulter and Howie, while the Horns make it a Toyota 1-2-3 at the halfway mark of day 2.
In the prologue loop, I managed to get past, I think it was Gary, and then a little while later Malcolm made a wrong slot, and then I just picked my way through the guys, and when we got into the new section it was nice, fast, open, and I managed to get past the rest. So but the pressure's on, it's very fast, it's very close between Leroy and myself, so there's no room for error.
The route was difficult to find in some stages, and then we lost our rear side shaft, so we were only limping in with front wheel drive, so that's why we dropped a lot of position. So yeah, but it's a very nice route, typical desert, just a bit faster, and I think the second loop will be better.
As for the specials, Duplessis and Leroux are first, just under a minute clear the other Duplessis, while the Silvalts, Quinton and Cully have climbed up to third. We've got Brazilians in the mix as well as men from the DRC.
Very good race. It seems like in our country, like DRC, is the same route, sand. Very good race.
The driver's going well. I made a few good calls as well, so I'm happy with myself. The car's behaving well, so far so good, but it's got another long track out there. We got another 218 kilometers to go, but we've done the first loop okay, and we're going nicely.
As the sun beats down on this beautiful country, it's Anthony Taylor and Dennis Murphy from Castrol Toyota, the men to catch in the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. Will they retain their crown? The way they've managed to fight their way up from the back, you can't see it going any other way.
Lying second as if they didn't get enough of the desert in South America, the Dakar Rally boys Leroy Poulter and Rob Howie. The pair having experienced no problems en route.
The Horns, Johan and Werner are third. What a race and year they're having.
Duplessis and Leroux continue to defy the doubters, there's Zarco keeping them in front in Class A.
This is one team who certainly don't need to prove anything. Quinton and Cully Silvald having climbed their way to second. They're looking for their third win this year.
Still searching for win number one, Hutchison and Stassen from Motorride. They're third in class, but are ahead of Berthold and Rousseau, meaning they now lead the Dakar Challenge.
The Motorride duo also doing their best to get past Schroeder and Badenhorst. And nice sportsmanship from the Ford pair, stopping to let them pass.
Schroeder and Badenhorst are losing positions, and that's allowed Berthold and Rousseau to climb up to fourth in Class T. But they'll have their eyes on Hutchison and Stassen.
Fifth in Class T, Van Biljon and Harselman. Van Biljon absolutely loving life, describing this as the best event ever.
Despite their earlier problems, Deploy and Janzer van Vuren very much in contention. They're sixth in their Ford Ranger.
Well, we heard from them earlier, the Agassi's fourth in class, despite a rope having got caught in their rear brake caliper.
Vichart and Herman Silvalt have dropped a few places and are currently fifth.
Back with Schroeder and Badenhorst, they say the sand is extremely deep, may have had a hand in them dropping to seventh.
Jason Fenter and Vincent van Alleman are one place behind them. They've enjoyed a clean run so far.
The first in Class S, Jannie Visser and Joks Leroux of Rubicon Racing. Jan said two words at the DSP, via lekker.
No sign of Matthews and Burke, meaning James Watson and John Thompson lead matters in Class P in their first desert outing together.
And the front runner in Class D, Dierwald and Anton Nienaber, in only their second Donaldson cross-country event and rookies to the desert. Their Toyota Land Cruiser going strong.
So after 400 Ks, it's Taylor and Murphy from Castrol Toyota that remain in front, followed by teammates Leroy Poulter and Rob Howie, while the Horns hold on to third. The competition in the Dakar Challenge between Hutchison and Stassen and Berthold and Rousseau is strong, with the Motorride Racing pair holding the edge for now.
The second day of racing is done and dusted, while Taylor and Murphy come through first again. Botswana has certainly been a happy hunting ground for them.
As for the specials, Lawrence Duplessis and Keely Null put in a fantastic run. They hold the 31-second lead. As far as the all-important Dakar Challenge is concerned, the leaders so far, Evan Hutchison and Donnie Stassen from Motorride Racing, Will they get the free ticket to South America? The Silvalt's Quinton and Cully from Elegant Fuel are second.
Another solid day out there. You guys are doing really well.
Yeah, it was a good day. We had started quite a far way back. We had a difficult run yesterday opening the road. So today was really tough. I passed about 15 cars out there. So had a good strong run. The car's perfect. So looking forward to another good day tomorrow.
Oh, today was actually a dream for us. We started with a 10-minute lead this morning, and we built on that lead today. The other guys had problems, and we capitalized on that. We kept clean, and we finished, I think, with another 15 minutes in hand. So we've got a nice buffer going in tomorrow. We're just going to take it easy and see how it goes.
There's nothing quite like racing in the desert. We've had a little bit of everything, so be sure to join us again next week for highlights of the final day here from Johannesburg in Botswana. It'll be the conclusion of the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. Don't miss it.
The Donaldson Cross Country Championship, brought to you by Donaldson Filtration Systems, a market leader in filtration solutions.